Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. In a July 13th post on X, what was previously known as Twitter, Democrat presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that climate change is being used to control us through fear. Freedom and free markets are a much better way to stop pollution. Polluters make themselves rich by making the public pay for the damage they do, he said. Therefore, the free markets will take care of pollution. The anti-carbon agenda is the wet blanket on our economy. And so the reality is, he said, that more people are dying of bad climate change policies than of climate change itself. And before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that we have a live stream today at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And today will be the day that we do our giveaway, our Super Chat giveaways for the Alaska Prepper 2023 edition silver coin. In addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, something I haven't told you about is that every month there will be a grand prize for one of you that wins one of the 10 silver coins. So there will be a grand prize of a unknown item in addition to a silver coin, and then 9 other silver coins that will be awarded randomly, of course. Now, let's go ahead and say thank you very much to the sponsor of this video, which is ITM Trading. Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. Millions of Brits are being told not, let me say that again, not to heat their homes at night as part of the net zero climate goals. Britain's Climate Change Committee, the CCC, has urged millions of Britons to not heat their homes in the evening to help the government hit its net zero target, while those same government officials are what at night? Say it with me, ladies and gentlemen. Are warm at night. I did a reaction video on inflation here, not the one that I did a couple of days ago, but the very first one that I did maybe a week ago or so. And there was a very nice lady who sounded British, and I think she said that she was in her flat, so I'm pretty sure that she was from the UK or somewhere in that area, who was showing the breath coming out as she exhaled, meaning that it was that cold. And that was a video taken this last winter. And ladies and gentlemen, it is obvious, I hope it is obvious to you, that the people, the same people that are passing on this advice and or policies are not having to go cold like they're asking you to go cold.
At ITM Trading, we have spent over 27 years building a team of seasoned researchers and analysts who can help you prepare for any financial crisis. Our experts are ready to provide you with proven strategies to safeguard your wealth and assets in the event of an economic downturn or currency reset, which is frankly inevitable. Don't wait until it's too late. Schedule your free gold and silver strategy call by clicking on the link in the description below.
And here they say that, no, they're not urging the elites to ditch their private jets and go commercial, right? They're not telling them not to burn 1,000 gallons of fuel by taking out their multi-million-dollar yachts. No, just don't heat your homes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't heat your homes. Heat your homes during the day, you know, kind of like stoke the fire during the day. And that way you don't have to use the electricity at night, while we're living these lifestyles that you could only dream of living. And maybe if you're lucky to be able to afford the electricity, watch us live our rich lifestyles on TV. But I digress. I just went on a little rant. I'm sorry. Chris Stark, who is head of the CCC, wants ordinary citizens to turn off their electric heaters, i.e. heat pumps, at night as part of a wider drive to deliver emissions savings, which includes a shift away from gas boilers, while Mr. Chris here still has one himself. Isn't that nice, ladies and gentlemen? Do as I say, but not as I do. And isn't that just the way it's always been? Well, if enough people listen, if enough people opened up their minds, opened their eyes, you know, took a look at what's going on for themselves instead of joining this climate change religion, which is, in my opinion, what it is, then maybe we wouldn't have to go through the times that are coming ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it would be an easier transition to this new paradigm that we are headed to. If you show me evidence that the earth is warming because I am driving an SUV, then I would be all for it. I'll be like, oh my goodness, and if the causation of the earth warming would result in that, not even my generation, not even in my lifetime, but in my children's lifetime, that it would cause for them a world that was so terrible to live in that they wouldn't even want to live in anymore, I would pay attention. I would be like, oh my goodness, look, the evidence is there. The evidence is there. But ladies and gentlemen, 1,600 scientists, over 1,600 scientists have signed a no climate emergency declaration. A no climate emergency declaration. Not just 1,600 scientists from here in the U.S., but from all over the world. I believe it's about 300 or so just from the U.S. But I thought the science was settled. Well, isn't that the definition of science? Is that it's never settled? International scientists have jointly signed a declaration dismissing the existence of a climate crisis and insisting that carbon dioxide is beneficial to Earth, contrary to the popular alarmist narrative. And isn't fear, ladies and gentlemen, the best way to keep a population under control? Think about this. Aren't you tired of this? Or if you're one of these people that falls in line with, hey, the earth is burning. Number one, have you really done some real research where you don't look at who's writing it, you don't look at which side of the aisle it's coming from, either left or the right, where you just do some real research, where you look at some real data by real scientists that don't work for the government, that aren't funded by the government? Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. Have you done this? And then think about everything that you are being asked to give up. Like, don't heat your home while they're heating theirs. Like, don't eat meat while they're eating their meat. Ask yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, is there something else behind this? There is no climate change emergency, the Global Climate Intelligence Group said in its World Climate Declaration made public in August. The climate science should be less political, they said. I think it should be non-political whatsoever, while climate policies should be more scientific. And that's just the truth. This is the exact opposite of what we're seeing. Climate policies that are not scientific, ladies and gentlemen. A total of 1,609 scientists and professionals from around the world have signed the declaration, including 321 from the United States. And listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't take a scientist to say this. I've said this several times. Why? Because it's true. And it's simple to understand. The coalition pointed out that the Earth's climate has varied as long as it has existed, with the planet experiencing several cold and warm phases. The Little Ice Age only ended as recently as 1850. All right, they said. And let me ask you a question. If we just came out of a little ice age, 200 years ago? Roughly 200 years ago? What do you think is happening to the earth if we just came out of an ice age where it was really cold? What happens when you take an ice cube out of the freezer? Well, it starts to warm down or warm up, however you want to say it. So obviously, if the Earth just came out of a little ice age, then of course the trend for the global temperature would be up, not down. Because if it were down, we would still be in a ice age. Ladies and gentlemen, this is common sense. Don't fall for this. It's not you. It's not you that you're fighting for. It's not me that I'm fighting for. It's for our children. What kind of a world would you like your children, your grandchildren and great-grandchildren, your lineage? What kind of a world do you want them to live in? In a world that is split up between two classes, those that can heat their homes and those that cannot, those that can eat meat and those that have to eat insects to survive, those that have freedom of movement because they have enough to put in their electric cars, where those that are being told how to live their lives have to live in little crumpled cities. And they say that warming is happening far slower than predicted by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, i.e. the IPCC. Climate models have many shortcomings, they say, and are not remotely plausible as policy tools. You understand what he's saying? That policy tools should not include climate models because they are not perfect, they're not near perfect, and they can be very easily manipulated, like putting a temperature sensor at the end of a runway in an airport where it's the hottest on black tar. Climate models are not reliable, ladies and gentlemen. They're easily manipulated, and they can pretty much put out whatever data you want them to put out. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll make sure to leave you the link to these articles on a pinned comment so you can come and revisit them, because I obviously don't read all of them. Why? Because I like to talk too much, all right? False doomsday predictions, a presidential issue. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this and do your own research. Just go back and look and see if this stuff is true. In 1970, some climate scientists predicted that the Earth would move into a new ice age by the 21st century. All right? Those of you that were alive in the 1970s and can remember those times, is this true? I've actually looked this up, and yeah, they were saying, yeah, we're going into an ice age. Where the fact is that if you take a look at a geological scale, in time, in like the millions and hundreds of millions of years, right now we are in an ice age. We are in a little divot of an ice age right now, geologically speaking, where like 2,000 or 3,000 years is nothing compared to 100 million years, right? So geologically speaking, we're like right in the middle of an ice age, but we are in a little dip of time where the conditions are perfect for human beings to live. And we are wanting to take the CO2 out of the air. We are wanting to take the plant food. We are wanting to take what provides us with oxygen out of the air. Yes, CO2 feeds plants. Plants breathe CO2 and they exhale oxygen, which is what we need. We are wanting to effectively take that out of the air, ladies and gentlemen. Think about how catastrophic that would be. Where there are scientists that right now are saying, listen, that 420, 440 ppm of CO2 that's in the air, that's only about 1/3 of what we really need in order for plants and vegetation to strive. And in May of 1982, this person here, Mostafa Tolba, then executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program, said that if the world did not change course, it would face an environmental catastrophe which will witness devastation as complete, as irreversible as any nuclear holocaust by the year 2000. Just another one of those predictions that scared the bejesus out of the population and had them say, it's okay, let's go ahead and pay those extra taxes. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. Yeah, it's all right if you want to go ahead and put in all of these rules for cars to have to achieve this many miles per gallon and us have to pay so much more. It's okay, we'll do that because, if we don't, the world is going to end by the year 2000. We're going to be living in a worldwide Chernobyl. You see how easy it is to fool people by just scaring them? In June 2008, James Hansen, director of NASA's Goddard Institute of Space Sciences, said that within 5 to 10 years, this was in 2008, the Arctic would have no ice left in the summer. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what. One day, the Arctic, as we know it now, will have no ice left. You know why? Because it's a cycle. You know this El Niño and La Niña pattern? See, for the last 3 years or so, we've had a La Niña pattern, all right? And the La Niña pattern is usually a cooler pattern. From what I understand, I'm not a meteorologist, right? But La Niña pattern is somewhat of a cooler pattern, right? And El Niño pattern is somewhat of a warmer pattern. When you have a warmer pattern like El Niño, the oceans are warmer. Okay, and it produces a lot more storms because you have cold air and warm air meeting, storms in the middle, a lot of snow, all that kind of stuff, hurricanes, all these things, tornadoes. We are now going into a El Niño pattern this year. Do you understand what I'm telling you? It's a pattern. That's what you're missing, and that's what they're not telling you on the mainstream media to try to keep you scared. It is a pattern. A cycle. Okay, it's not that the world is burning up. It is a pattern and a cycle that has existed for I don't know how long, but a lot longer than I've been on this earth. Ladies and gentlemen, human beings are very easy to manipulate if you have the right tools. And that's what's been happening for a long time now. So wake up. Wake up. This is not about the weather. Yes, let me go on another quick rant. This is not about the weather. This climate change stuff is not about the weather. And I'm going to go ahead and revisit this one last time. This is a new article, which I will leave pinned as well, but I'm going to revisit it one last time because it's important to say. If climate change is such an important issue, if the symptoms of climate change are so devastating, then why does money matter? Money doesn't matter when we have to go to war. Money doesn't matter when you have to inoculate a world, right, ladies and gentlemen? Spend all the money that you can possibly spend to go ahead and give some medicine to people that really don't want it. But I digress. But my point is this, money doesn't matter then. How many billions have we spent in wars in the last just 50 years, let's say? How many billions? What? Trillions, ladies and gentlemen, have we spent in war? Money's never mattered then, right? Right? Why? Because we have to fight for democracy, of course. Of course. But why is it that money matters for this climate change stuff if it's so important? If humanity is going to end, why is it that money matters for this climate change stuff? The world's largest offshore wind farm maker crashes most on record after catastrophic results. Shares of the world's largest offshore wind farm developer crashed in Copenhagen trading on Wednesday after it warned that the situation in U.S. offshore wind is severe. And of course here shows that their shares dropped by 25%. My question is this: why is this place going out of business? Isn't it important for us to save the world that we keep these wind farms running? Isn't it important, ladies and gentlemen? So why is money a matter? Why are we allowing this wind farm to fail? Why aren't we just printing money out of thin air to keep this wind farm up if it is so important to save the world? Why? Because it's all about money. That's all it is. It's all about money, and there's only so much that you can milk out of a population before they revolt. And we're getting pretty close to that point. So protect yourselves in every way you can. Thank you very much again to ITM Trading for sponsoring this video. And ladies and gentlemen, this video ought to at least, I hope, encourage you to do your own research. Go ahead and think I'm crazy. That's fine. But please do your own research. Because as I previously stated, it's not for you. It's for your children and your lineage. Have a great day. I hope to see you all this afternoon during our live stream. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.